in the GT1000. Hello.
Can you open this?
Yeah, mate.
Centre.
Alright, you need to look there and say hi.
Hello! I'm a child. I am 8 years old.
I'll put that in for you.
Yay!
Today we are going to talk about this ducking feature on the reverbs in the GT1000. Let's go! Hey, hope you're all doing well. So I've been getting some pretty good feedback with my GT1000 videos, so I figured may as well keep it going, right? So you can see I've got the GT1000 here on the desk. Hopefully you can see the screen. I'm joking, calm down, Karen. So basically what I'm talking about are these three right here: the ducking sensor, the ducking pre-depth, and the ducking post-depth. So just like in the delays, it has the same thing here: ducking sensor, pre and post. So essentially what that's going to do when you're playing any kind of line, it's going to remove those delays out of the way of your guitar while you're playing, and then when you stop, it's going to come back up and fill out the space again. Really handy on sort of chunky riffs like that one I played at the start, and sounds really great on lead lines as well. So it lets your solo cut through and you can still hear that delay in the spaces in between. So to quote straight out of the manual, the ducking sensor adjusts the sensitivity at which the volume is automatically adjusted according to the input. High values allow the adjustments to occur in response to lower volumes. Now that one works directly with the next two. So the ducking pre-depth, when the input sound is loud, this automatically reduces the volume that is being input to the reverb and delay. As this setting approaches 100, the input volume reduction is applied more deeply. And the post-depth, when the input sound is loud, this automatically reduces the volume that is being output from the reverb and delay. As this setting approaches 100, the output volume reduction is applied more deeply. So essentially what's happening with the pre is the input going into the reverb is reduced, and opposite on the post, the output of the reverb is reduced. So it's a little bit confusing when you just read it like that. However, end of the day, it's all a matter of just finding that sweet spot. Dial it into taste and away you go. So let's have a look at that now. I'll turn my delay and reverbs off. So this is the sound of the rig. So let's bring in the reverb. First of all, I'm going to turn the ducking all the way down so you can hear what's going on. We're going to just have a normal amount of reverb to start with. We'll get rid of the pre-delay. Now I've got a low cut at 160 and a high cut at 5K, just to sort of remove it out of the way of my guitar anyway. So 2.2 seconds there, it's pretty long reverb. Let's bring up the effect level now. So you can hear there when I play, the reverb's now getting in the way. There's guitar and there's reverb, and the volumes are more or less kind of the same. Now using the ducking is not the same as just putting some pre-delay. So yes, obviously using the pre-delay cleans up that start and the reverb comes in a little bit later. So your guitar does tend to cut through a little bit more, but if I show you, even if I crank this pre-delay to 136 randomly, so on the chords especially, you can hear that the reverb is really in the way. However, on the lead lines, it did tend to get out of the way just a little bit more, which is kind of cool, good to note. But let's bring that pre-delay back down now. If I now bring the duck sensor up to 50, I'm gonna get post depth first, bring it up a little. Now you listen to the difference. Let's do the pre-delay thing again. So you can hear, especially with the post depth, when it comes up, you can hear the reverb sort of kick back in. So I don't think you're really supposed to stab and then wait for it, but you can really kind of hear what it's doing. Let's crank the reverb now so you can actually hear what's going on. So it's 86 level. Bring this a bit higher. There it was. So it takes a second there, but you can hear it kick back up. There it is. Cool. So this pre-depth, it's a bit confusing, like I said. I don't quite fully get how it works, but it seems to be that the post-depth, it gets out of the way and then it comes back afterwards. The pre-depth kind of makes it a bit smoother. I would argue that you could just adjust the overall effect level as opposed to bring down this pre-depth, because that's kind of sort of seems to be what's happening. But on its own, and kicks back in. Cool, cool, cool. So let's bring this center up all the way 100. Rightio, break down a bit lower. So the way I hear it, the post depth is just bringing that reverb back up once you've got less guitar going in. The input is less input coming into the reverb, so there's going to be less overall reverb. And then the duck center is sort of how much of those two things is happening. It's kind of like compression in a way. You're compressing that reverb while you're playing, and then the compressor opens up and it lets it come back out. But that reverb there, they've got that cranked to 86. If I turn this all off now so you can hear just how much reverb there is on that. Cool. Now, of course, as I said, it is in the delay as well. So turn them down. Panning delay. So I've just made it real bright so that the delay is a bit more obvious. Crank this now. So now that delay is getting a bit intense, let's bring this ducking sensor up. Let's go post depth first so you can hear what's happening. It'll do the same thing. It'll bring it down, and then when I stop, it's going to pop back out. Cool, cool, cool. Let's try a little bit harder sensitivity. let's combine that with that reverb as well. I think that sounds really fantastic. So I've got that reverb cranked to 86 and the delay is at 78. But while I'm playing, you wouldn't think that those values are so high because they're out of the way. But then when I stop, it's big. You got so much ambience in there filling up the space. It's really quite a magical effect. So there we go. That is more or less what the ducking feature on the reverb and delay is doing. It's getting out of your way to make you sound cool and then coming in to be like, we're here too, bro. And we also sound cool. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. See you next time.